Well, after getting the big business done, the Calgary Flames need to do with Matthew Tkachuk, the Calgary Flames had some other arbitration cases they're done with. I'll talk about in this video. Hi there, it's Brett Hornby here, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. And I would say it'd be an understatement to say it's been quite an off season for the Calgary Flames. We're definitely going to have some roster turnover and some new faces of the franchise, but the Calgary Flames were able to get all their arbitration cases done before the actual arbitration case. That I'm going to still say it's great that we got those players signed. I mean, obviously the biggest moves was losing Johnny Gaudreau to the Columbus Blue Jackets in free agent frenzy, and then we did elect to go for team file arbitration with Matthew Tkachuk to protect ourselves from offer sheet, and just to see, after losing Johnny, telling Matt, do you want to stay here long term, and he said no way. That we ultimately traded him to the Florida Panthers, and I made those separate videos. But the Calgary Flames had 3 other arbitration cases. One was, I'm going to say, was more to try to get as much money and potentially a one-way deal, and the other 2 were trying to maximize and get as much money as possible. I know that the Calgary Flames did sign Matthew Phillips, who was pretty big in the Stockton Heat last year. He did get a 1-year deal worth $750,000, but still has a minor salary of $140,000, so he got a 1-year deal from his arbitration case. But the Calgary Flames were able to get other 2 big pieces done. I'm definitely glad that one player at least wants to stay here, is Andrew Mangiapane. But the first player that they got done before arbitration on that day was defenseman Oliver Kylington, as he did sign a 2-year deal worth $2.5 million per season, so $5 million over the 2 course of the contract, which that will get him to unrestricted free agency when that one is up. But Andrew Mangiapane also said he was, actually the whole time he said he was willing to stay here long term, and could he say he could be potentially one of the new faces of the team now that Matt and Johnny are gone. But Andrew Mangiapane got a 3-year deal signed that pays him $5.8 million per season. Definitely a big bump after his 35 goal scorer season last season, and did get 6 points in 12 playoff games, so which works out to be $17.1 million over the course of the contract. That for Andrew Mangiapane. So that's basically all the arbitration cases that the Calgary Flames had to deal with. And the case with Matthew Tkachuk, he went down to the latest possible date, but then shortly after, when he said he wasn't willing to commit long term after we signed that team arbitration, so we didn't have any offer sheets after him, he pretty much was traded a couple days later. So what do you think of the quick arbitration cases that the Calgary Flames have signed? And I am still playing catch up with my videos, and I do eventually going to plan to make a video going over all the free agency that the Calgary Flames have gained and lost. But the case with Matthew Tkachuk, as well as Johnny Gaudreau, those stories alone warranted its own video and my reaction to that said story. But this season, pretty much, I'm going to say the Calgary Flames looked at trying to keep their own pieces, which they did try the best they could with the biggest pieces. But I'm going to say the next 2 biggest pieces was both Oliver Kylington and Andrew Mangiapane when it comes to restricted free agents. But the rest of it was just filling out the roster in depth, so I'll do that in a separate video. But I'm going to say, what do you think of all those signs? And I was going to still say I also have to do a draft recap video, but bear with me, I'm playing catch up, and I also got to still play catch up with game recaps. So anyway, I'll just close out and say, if you want to follow along with this Calgary sports fans journey, home the Flames have been roughing Stampeders as well as the Calgary FC, just make sure you like, subscribe as I Mostly do talk Calgary sports on my YouTube channel where I recap games, stories, and that. But I also do a variety of non-sports content like personal vlogs. Attempt to call me, I also do share my experience when I'm on the road or at a sporting event, and I've done some vlogging to go. So if it all sounds like it'd be interesting to watch, do follow along with this Calgary sports fans journey. You know what you do, just make sure you like, subscribe. I also have my other social media links down in the description below for other ways you can follow me, as well as I have my second channel in Brett Hornby Shorts, where I exclusively put my short form content on there. And I guess one last piece of nugget I can throw out before closing out this video is that after all the transactions that the Calgary Flames made with the free agent signings and players leaving and these arbitration cases or restricted free agent signings ahead of arbitration, the Calgary Flames still do have $2 million in cap space to go, and I'm going to still think a couple players from the AHL team are knocking on the door. So I think Calgary, I don't think, has too much more to do in the offseason unless it's any more big trades in that, or maybe trade out another defenseman because they have a lot more defensemen signed. But whatever they do, I still plan to make videos on it. Hopefully I'll be all caught up by then when that happens. So anyway, so I want to say thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.